Good evening, and welcome to this edition of Labor Vision. I'm Bob Delaney, Executive Director of the Institute for Labor Studies and Research. Labor Vision, a production of the Institute, focuses on topics of importance and interest to working Rhode Islanders. We hope you enjoy this evening's edition.
For many of us, the holidays are a time of joy and happiness. But for many families in Rhode Island, the holiday season is filled with concerns about paying for heat, having warm clothes, or being able to provide holiday meals and gifts for their children and families. Feed 1000 is a nonprofit organization working to provide a free meal and a personal gift bag to more than 1,000 individuals in need this holiday season. Last Saturday, December the 15th, this project served more than 1,874 meals, distributed 2,000 care packages, coats, hats, and gloves, and over 500 toys. Organized labor is committed to community service throughout the year. Whether it's your neighbor down the street who volunteers as a coach for Little League, individuals on your street volunteering time on a construction project, or those individuals who raise generous amounts of money for societies such as the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. This year, the Rhode Island Construction and Building Trades Council, along with Labor's Local 271, took the lead on this particular project for organized labor to ensure that more than 150 members of organized labor, all affiliated with the AFL-CIO, Working Rhode Island, and the Providence Central Labor Council participated in this very important project. Most notably, organized labor was responsible for collectively bringing more than 2,000 coats to the project for distribution on that day. Members of organized labor, both current, retired, young, and old, are very pleased to participate in this particular event.
Hi, my name is Stan Israel, and I'm a proud retired union leader from the SEIU, and I'm here today to further the cause of making life better for those that need help in our society. It's going to be a wonderful day, other than it's quite sad that so many people are going hungry and need clothing and shelter. And that's one of the things that the labor movement has always been about, is that we try to help the needy as well as those that work and those that don't work, and fight for a better America so that everybody can enjoy the fruits of their labor in this country.
My name is Michael Sabatoni. I am the business manager of the Rhode Island Labor's District Council, business manager of Labor's Local 271, and the president of the Rhode Island Building and Construction Trades Council. And we're here today at the Rhode Island Convention Center at an event known as Feed 1000. The labor movement, laborers in particular, have been very active in this event, setting up and donating and volunteering to feed and serve probably the most neediest of Rhode Islanders today around the holiday season. We've had participation from the AFL-CIO, my building trade brothers and sisters, our apprenticeship programs, our Building Futures program, the Laborers Charter School, all coming together with a number of organizations to do what people do best, is help other needy individuals. Also today there was a big coat drive where an individual could get a warm coat, some hats and some gloves, a warm meal, and then also we have some gifts that were donated. We have Santa here for some of the young children that will be here today, all coming together for a most worthy cause. So on behalf of the laborers and on behalf of the building trades, I couldn't be more proud to be part of this event, and hopefully next year it will be even bigger, not because of the need, but because of the outpouring of volunteers to give back to the community. Thank you.
My name is John Lynch. I'm with the Rhode Island Laborers Local 808, the Retiree Council, and I'd like to welcome everybody here to the Convention Center. This is a tremendous opportunity for the laborers, all the retirees and their families, to give back a little something to the community. In the labor industry, we are very, very forthgiving and welcoming people in and giving back to the community throughout the year. And always at Christmas time, it's a good time to give back. And now with the coat drive, we have coats and hats and flu shots and a number of other things for the less fortunate. Labor has been very good to me, and I feel as a retiree that it's a chance for me to give something back, and that's why I'm here today, and I want to thank you for having us.
It's a hell of an event. I can't express what kind of fierce pride I have of seeing once again when organized labor and the community comes together. This is essential, but at the same time, you can't help but be really struck. I'm almost sad that the volume of people here in need, which shows you we're really in trouble right now in this state, in this country. And thank God there are people willing to offer their time, and they're union members who are eagerly offering their time today to try to at least do something temporarily. I celebrate this event. I hope we have even more volunteers next year, and I hope we have less participants, if that's at all possible.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Riley, Secretary Treasurer of United Food and Commercial Workers Local 328. Here's the family business, by the way. In case you didn't know, I'm so happy to be here with Mike Sabatoni and his folks from the Carpenters here and all the other local unions. And there are literally thousands and thousands of people that are not only going to be fed here today and entertained by the Mount St. Charles Academy Band, but we've got all kinds of healthcare stations here and substance abuse stations and housing stations, and we're giving flu shots. We've got, I don't know how many thousand coats over there. They're bringing the people in, getting them into the health stations first and then over to the coats and mittens and all sorts of things. The Teamsters, Joe Barros was here with just buckets and buckets of all kinds of clothes and t-shirts and mittens and things like that. So we're here because we're giving back. We're the labor community. We're the best people on earth, and that's why we're here. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Stevie Messalella. Merry Christmas to everybody. We're just so happy to be here helping these people that haven't had a good meal in a while. It's a pleasure, and it just makes me feel good to help. I wish them all a very Merry Christmas, and I'm sure we're going to have better times ahead of us.
Hello, my name is John DiBiase from Local 99, Providence. We're here to do our part to help the needy. We try to do as much community service as we possibly can, and we hope to have a great time and probably learn a little bit too. Considering everything that happened yesterday, this is going to make it a little extra special. Thank you very much.
Rhode Island is truly a strong example of a state that has individuals who are caring and supportive of those in need. What better example than those who supported this event from the Station Fire Memorial Foundation.
Hi, my name is Gina Russo. I am president of the Station Fire Memorial Foundation. We're here to help out today at this amazing event to help some people in need, and it's our turn to give back. The Station Fire Memorial Foundation is a volunteer program, and we've been very blessed with people helping us, and it's our turn to give back. We are in the process of getting ready to build the Station Memorial to honor 100 beautiful angels who passed away that night. And we need people to know that we need their help, but we're out there to help the community as well. This is very important to us, and we're grateful to be here.
Building Futures began in the spring of 2007. Building Futures is about creating a promising career path to excellent paying jobs with good benefits. Building Futures is not just about giving people a trade. It's about giving people hope and opportunity.
Hi, my name is Joseph Andrade. I'm with the graduating class of Building Futures. We're a pre-apprenticeship program that helps people that deserve a chance to get in the union, get into the union. We're helping out today because it's just good to give back to the community above all. Somebody gave us a chance, so now we're going to help out somebody else that needs help.
High school students from around the state participated in this event as well. New England Laborers Construction Career Academy students helped to set the event up. Students from Mount St. Charles High School Band participated, And the basketball team, coach and assistant coach from Hope High School, participated in serving and looking after the needs of those who attended.
Hi, my name's David Nyblum. I'm the head basketball coach at Hope High School, and I teach in Providence. I've been teaching 24 years. One of my assistants, Rob Whalen, is a volunteer with me. He's been a volunteer for 6 years. His friends are organizing this event, so we want to do anything we could to help them be successful. Obviously, giving back to the community is very important. Rob, like I said, has been volunteering at our school for 6 years. I've got Keith Moores, who's another volunteer, who he's been helping the kids, so on and so forth. So Jimmy Black is another kid. We got 3 volunteers at my school, but Rob Whalen is the big thing. A lot of his friends are doing this, so we want to make the kids aware of the problem in their own town and how homelessness and poverty and so on and so forth affects not just the different areas, it affects everybody. And any way they can help to give back, to give them the true understanding about what it means, to give and volunteer and support other people. And hopefully we can take care and solve a little bit today with our team and team building exercise. So good luck to everybody. Again, anything we can do to help, we appreciate it.
We are here on behalf of Hope High School and the Hope High School basketball team. We are here to give back to the community. And we are not only basketball players, we are community leaders.
Our reason for doing this is you never know, you might be in the same situation. You might want somebody else to help you get through that situation that you are going through. That's our reason for coming here. Blue Wave!
Hi, I'm Priscilla Langley. These are my friends Lizzie, Anne-Marie, and Zoe, and we're from Mount St. Charles. We're here so we can give back to the community and help all these people today.
Hi, I'm Mary, and we're from Mount St. Charles Academy, and we're here to feed 1,000.
Hi, my name is Nicole Bodette. I am from Stoughton High School in Massachusetts. We are part of the student council. This is Kara, Mackenzie, and Erica, and we're happy today to come back and give back to the community.
I'm Allegra, and I'm Amanda. We're from Mount St. Charles Academy, and we came here to volunteer because it's a really great program, and we have a lot of fun, and it's the holiday season, and we just want to give back to people who are less fortunate than we are.
Hi, my name's Jen, and I'm from the Johnston Police Explorers, Post 405. We have about 7 kids here today to help out with the community. This event's important to us because we're not hungry, so we believe that no one else should be hungry either.
Hi, I'm Brian Skorsky. I live in Coventry, Rhode Island, and I attend Coventry High School. I came here to give back to my community, and I came with my mom. Her work, PMNG, set this up. And I may not be hungry today, but there are a lot of people out there who are, so I came to help them out.
Hi, I'm Maggie Casey from St. George Orthodox Cathedral in Worcester. I go to Wachusett Regional High School in Holden, Massachusetts, and we're here to give back to our community because we care about all the safety of others.
My name is Rich Santilli. I work with a company called Priority Management Group. We were kind of took the lead on putting this together last year. We get a lot of help from the governor's office, the mayor's office, and a lot of other folks. Mike Sabatoni was a huge help this year. We added him to our mix of volunteers that come to our meetings to put this on, and with his help and a lot of everybody else's help, we were able to gather 2,000 jackets, 2,000 sets of hats, 2,000 pairs of gloves, 2,000 meals, 2,000 backpacks, and 2,000 pretty much everything. So we're pretty lucky to have some great help from a lot of people and been able to put this great event on today. I want to wish everybody a very happy holidays and a wonderful 2013.
Good afternoon, I'm Ray Jorgensen. I'm the CEO at PMG, and I want to thank everybody who came out today to help with Feed 1,000. Just a tremendous outpouring of support from the community and really a collaborative effort of a lot of different groups. Couldn't have got it done on our own. My partner Rich Santilli and Rob Skeffington came up with the idea initially, but just thrilled to be able to be part of it, and I wish everybody a very Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and a Happy 2013. Thanks very much.
This is a really important event for the community. I think there will be over 1,000 people today who receive a wonderful meal, some holiday gifts, some Christmas gifts, some toys. But it's really about helping families in our state in a really difficult economy during the holidays, and just coming together to show that we care about our fellow men and women and children, our neighbors. And it's evidence, the crowd here is evidence of the really, really serious challenge that so many Rhode Islanders are facing, which is why those of us who have the privilege of serving in government have to be fighting hard to get people back to work, to invest in the things that will rebuild our economy, to protect Medicare and Social Security and Pell Grants, to rebuild the infrastructure of our country, and to fight most importantly, just to get people back to work by getting our economy back on track. And that's what I'm doing, that's what we're all doing in the Rhode Island delegation. But this is proof of how difficult it is for folks and how much work we have to do.
Tayana, it's great to have you here, and I was hoping you can introduce your family to us today.
Okay, this is my husband, Travis Bliss. This is our niece, Tanisha Bliss. This is our daughter, Candia Bliss. This is our son, Sylvester Bliss. This is Everett Bliss. This is Everett, her son. That's my other son, Devon Bliss. And that's Lita. And this is Aaliyah. And this is Morningstar. She don't feel good.
Well, that's great. And tell us how you found out about the Feed 1000 event here today.
My mom came last year and she told us about it this year. And we're just happy that we came because it was really nice.
And what did you do today with the children?
We mangoed, we ate delicious food. It was really good. We went up to Santa Claus. The kids had a really good time. They're happy with their gifts.
Right. Right. And do they have backpacks or bags with gifts?
They have backpacks and they have books, which is something really awesome too.
Great. You know that we have flu shots here as well in case you need them.
Okay.
So there are flu shots in the next room, and there are also coats in the next room as well. We have several thousand coats in case you need them as well.
Okay.
So we hope you and your family all have a wonderful, wonderful holiday, and we're happy to be able to work together to improve the city and the state.
I'm Tyler, and I am volunteering. I'm from Lincoln, and I'm doing the backpacks and giving them out to the people when they're leaving.
Hi, happy holidays, and we're from Gateway Tri-Hab in Woonsocket, Rhode Island. Merry Christmas!
Hi, I'm Erin. I work for Priority Management Group. I'm from Providence, Rhode Island, and this is my first year volunteering here, and I just want to say that I'm so proud of everyone at PMG and everyone in Rhode Island who came together to do something like this, and I think it's a really wonderful way for our company and the state as a whole to give back and really remember the true reason for the season. So thank you to the partners of PMG, and Merry Christmas to all.
Hi, my name is Jim Bennett, and I'm chairman of the Rhode Island Convention Center Authority and the Dunkin' Donuts Complex. And we're just so pleased to be able to host this event here at the Convention Center. I see a lot of smiling faces, I see a lot of volunteers, I see the governor and the mayor here helping out, and at this time of year it kind of puts you in the mood. I know I'm in the mood. As soon as I get done here, we're going to go shopping, but everybody's happy, and we're just glad to be able to do this, and we hope to be able to do it every year.
Hi, I'm Caroline Poiker. I'm from Priority Management Group, and our organization helps run this. And today I'm here with my family to try to give back to the community. This is our Christmas present and to each other, just being together today, trying to give to other people.
Hi, I'm Julie.
And I'm Chelsea, and we work for Priority Management Group. We're here today to give back to the community at our annual Feed 1000 event. This is our second year.
Yes, it is.
And it's a joy to be here, just giving back to those that are in need. And we want everyone to come down and enjoy the food, enjoy the gifts, and make it a happy holiday season for all.
Happy holidays.
Bye.
Hi, I'm Hugh Clements with the Providence Police Department, Chief of Police. Providence Police find this event very important. We were involved last year with Feed 1000 in the PMG group. We have friends who are part of that organization. They had asked the Providence Police last year in the inception year to be part of this important event. It's important because during this time of year there are so many people in need with the economy, with the the bad economic environment going on all over the country, and especially here in Providence. We want to do our part to give back to the community. As you know, the Providence Police are very engaged in the community, very connected to the community. So this event is important to us. We have officers stationed throughout the conference center here, and we're happy to be here.
My name is Stephen Haynes of Rhode Island State Police. Here on behalf of the State Police of our State Police Community Outreach Program. We're involved in this as well as many others, Kids, Cops, and Christmas, Project Night Vision. We like to take this opportunity to interact with the community so they can see us in a different light, and we can have more interaction with the community, and wish them a very Merry Christmas.
Hi, I'm Sal Santelli from Yalis Kaplan, Santelli and Moran, accounting firm in Providence, and we're here to try to help Feed 1000 as a volunteer for this wonderful event.
I'm Mark Steinbach, the director of St. Paul's Choir in Wickford, and we can't wait to sing at this event. We're so excited to be here today.
Providing support and encouragement for those in our community who have less than others is important all year round, but particularly during this time of the year, this holiday season. It's critically important that we all come together to help make our community stronger and support those in need.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the next installment of the History of American Working People, with an occasional look at what happened right here in Rhode Island. My name is Scott Molloy. I'm a professor at the University of Rhode Island, and today I'm wearing another shirt. You may have noticed over these sessions that I have different union t-shirts. This is from the Amalgamated Transit Union, which once represented me when I was a ripped-up bus driver. So I feel very good about wearing that and coming home with this. Last time we spoke, we took a look at World War I in American history, which is almost a century ago, so it's pretty much ancient history these days. But we only spent a short time on it because this is not an American history class, but more of a look at working people. But war always affects working people, either at home or on the battlefront itself. And I think we won the Great War in record time in about 30 minutes. So I think we beat all the generals in that particular instance. But we saw that in World War I, because the government wanted labor peace, as it always does, when there are some sort of global conflicts, they were willing to purchase it. And that didn't mean much in terms of money, except it meant another nickel or a dime in the paycheck of American workers. It meant perhaps time and a half after 8 hours, or if you had to work a Saturday, which most people did back in that era, 1914 through the end of the war in 1918. And I also like to kid my students to say, well, that's really when the first coffee break was born. Somewhere along the line, somebody got a few minutes stuck in there in the morning or the afternoon to finally get a break during the work day, which was sort of like climbing to the top of the mountain and you'd reached nirvana. So anyway, we won World War I, but the ramifications of that war, despite the labor peace, the government had set up a war labor board. There were almost no industrial conflicts during that era. They worked everything out, and it was not particularly expensive. There was no disruption, particularly to the war effort on the part of labor. But amazingly, when the war was over, the government extracted itself from the economy and pretty much invited labor and management to go back where they had always been, at war themselves. So we leave one type of hot war and get into another domestic one, which would stretch on for another generation or two. It's interesting that no sooner was the war over that the government and the powers that be were unable to turn off the general hatred that had been engendered during the wartime era against our enemies. But people still had that in them, and now they seem to turn against labor with that. And it wasn't so much labor at the beginning. Really, it was the Bolshevik Revolution during the First World War in 1917, when Russia pulled out of the alliance with France and England, mainly because the revolution was a reaction to the Tsar sending his troops into battle against the incredibly efficient German war machine, when the Russians were taking shovels and rakes and hoes trying to fight a very sophisticated opposition. And that's one of the many reasons that that revolution broke out. But for our purposes, the Russian Revolution, unlike any other before it in history, had as one of its centerpieces the exportation. That is, they were going to export revolution wherever they could, not simply in Russia or in the surrounding areas, but across the world, if they thought there was a chance of doing that. And there were a series of incidents in America in 1919 and 1920 which would lead to what we now call the first Red Scare. It was the fear of Bolshevism somehow infiltrating and putting a germ in these pristine American workers. And of course, that's not quite true either, but we'll take a quick look at it. During 1919 in particular, there were a whole series of events which really scared the heck out of American society. There was a general strike in Seattle, Washington, and we weren't used to seeing that type of thing. A group of anarchists who had absolutely nothing to do with the labor movement sent a series of, I guess you'd call them letter bombs, even though it was a long time ago, to many of the authorities in the U.S. Government. Crowds attacked the newspaper offices of the New York Call, a left-wing newspaper, and of course the freedom to say what you want in written and oral form is part of our American Bill of Rights and Constitution. There was that summer of 1919 a race riot that started in Chicago when a young black adolescent swimming in one of the Great Lakes there crossed an invisible line which said whites were on one side and blacks were on the other. And this ignited a racial conflict that spread not only through Chicago, but into the nation's capital and other places as well. And it's estimated that some 500 people died that summer in a brawl between blacks and whites on either side, which of course was blamed on the Soviet Union. I don't know if they had much to do with that. And then in September of 1919, one of the most unusual strikes ever in American history took place in nearby Boston when the Irish cops went on strike to join the American Federation of Labor. And the police force at the time was a very militarized outfit. There was no give and take in the personnel department. And when the police went on strike, rioting and looting broke out in Boston, if you can believe it. And the governor, Silent Cal Coolidge, later to become president, came out with one of the great quotations in American history. He said, "There is no right to strike against the American government anywhere, anytime, or any place." And he ran that quotation all the way to becoming the American president just a few years later. Needless to say, the police union was put down, even though they did nothing that was illegal. But the rioting and Coolidge's tough stand put an end to that, at least for another 20 years or so. At the same time, when these smaller things were going on, there were a couple of larger strikes, and you often see these at the end of war, because during war, the cost of living usually skyrockets, regardless of the War Labor Board or whatever personnel practices you had in place. The cost of living just gets out of control, and people try to make up for it once the war is over. And so you had two general strikes that overlapped each other in 1919. One was in the steel industry. And of course, we hadn't heard from steel going back to the Carnegie Homestead strike in 1892. And the steel workers by this point in 1919 were working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. Now, that's something we often say now, 7/12 or whatever, to say that we're working too many hours, and yet they had this way back then. And even more disruptive to the economy after the war was another general strike, which shut down most of the coal mines throughout the nation. And of course, coal in that era was the oil of today. And society, particularly in cold weather, industry at any given time, all needed coal to operate. But it wasn't so easy to bring in strike breakers. It wasn't so easy to bring in the National Guard to go into the bowels of some coal mine out in Pennsylvania and use your bayonet to somehow break apart those seams of coal. And so that strike went on for quite a while, and even though they got stalemated after several months, it showed the power that labor had and the inability in certain industries for the government to do very much about it. And also bringing up the fear of Bolshevism in America, and really it didn't have much to do with it at all. But the railroad workers, boy, they were the creme de la creme, the aristocrats of the American Federation of Labor. In fact, they were usually independents. They were broken up into brotherhoods of locomotive engineers, of railroad firemen. Oh, they had 6 or 7 brotherhoods that operated often independently. But these very conservative labor groups on the railroads came up with the idea of what they called the Plum Plan. It was named after their general counsel, whose last name happened to be Plum. But they called for the nationalization of the railroads. And to many people, this seemed like the Bolshevik Revolution had come to America indeed. And so what happened? There was a counterattack on the part of the government, no longer really going after the IWW, the industrial workers of the world, who had been very prominent just before the war and during it, and very militant, as you may remember from the Bread and Roses strike of 1912. But the IWW had been put back on its heels and was sort of out of the way. But this seemed to bring an opportunity for the government under the leadership of A. Mitchell Palmer and his partner in arms, a young man learning the ropes in the Justice Department, John Edgar Hoover, J. Edgar Hoover, who you may have seen in the recent biographical movie about him, which was none too flattering to Mr. Hoover. But they went after just about everyone who either looked red or pink, or had perhaps on an orange shirt like I do, who had a foreign accent, who might have been outspoken in their union, who perhaps received a socialist newspaper in the mail, who perhaps took out a book that seemed a little racy out of the library. America just became insane with the fear that revolution was about to erupt in America. And anyone suspect who might take part in something like this was immediately rounded up. And so on the morning of January 2nd, 1920, agents of the American Justice Department fanned out across the country, including several places right here in Rhode Island, and they arrested 10,000 people without a habeas corpus, that is, with no warrants for their arrest, other than the fact that they had that accent or had been in a demonstration. For the most part, these were fairly peaceful people. Now, the government, in its attempts to portray them as something worse than that, ran up against a stone wall. As I remember, they confiscated several hundred bowling balls, thinking that they were perhaps bombs because they had that round shape to them. They found a lot of revolutionary literature, and Textile Hall in Oneyville was filled with all sorts of reading literature. They went after the Russian Social Club, which was over on Randall Square, not that there's much left of that today. And they also raided the Socialist Party headquarters on Benefit Street. Now, I don't know if they picked up a few RISD students along the way, but it was a very frightening period, even though I'm making light of it because it was so long ago. And they called it a Red Scare because what it did was create an atmosphere where people were afraid to speak their mind. And we're a country that embraces ourselves and says this is one of the greatest liberties the world has ever seen, and we've all got the right to say what we want to. Well, I don't know about you, but there's a few times when I've bit my own tongue. And no one would call me a shrinking violet when it comes to speaking out. But there are times when you just kind of keep quiet because the ramifications or the penalty involved, even though it's not countenanced in our laws and regulations, really scared people. And so, but one other thing happened along the way, and that was in September of 1920. On Wall Street, and certainly we know about Wall Street, a horse and wagon was drawn up in front of the house, the banking house of J.P. Morgan, John P. Morgan, the great entrepreneurial genius who combined commerce and finance with political influence. This horse and wagon was left unattended outside of the bank, although it was parked. I'm not quite sure how they parked a wagon in those days. I don't think they did parallel parking. But it was left there. And about a half an hour later, a terrific, a horrendous bomb, obviously set off by anarchists, went off outside the banking facility, killing dozens of people and wounding more than 100. And the New York City Police Department traced whatever evidence they had. They found a knob to a safe. They found a serial number on it. They traced it back to Europe, followed that trail back to New Jersey, and then the trail went cold. They were never able to find out actually who did this horrendous deed, although they blamed it on immigrants. They said the people who left it were of a swarthy color. It certainly had nothing to do with labor, but it was part and parcel of all of these things that happened at that time. Now, interestingly, just before the war had ended, one of the most outspoken individuals against America getting involved in that war. And you may remember, we didn't go in until the war was almost over, but we had to save the day because our allies were beginning to lose. And if they went down the drain, the tremendous amounts of treasure that we had lent them would probably go with them. So we got involved. But the person who spoke out against that war, and we have to remember, World War I is not World War II. It's more of a traditional war fought over commerce and finance and colonies and things of that nature, not the genocidal type of conflict that we associate with World War II, which we'll look at a little bit later. But a man named Eugene Victor Debs, who I know I've mentioned before, one of my great heroes, spoke out against the war. He had run for president on the Socialist Party ticket as late as 1912 and had gotten 1 million votes. This was not a fringe candidate. This was a well-spoken, knowledgeable, highly educated individual who had 100,000 dues-paying followers in 1912. But because he spoke out against the war, the government was watching him all the time. He was under constant surveillance, but they were afraid to arrest Eugene Victor Debs because he had such a following. He was a pacifist. He was a guy who didn't believe in violence, was never accused of any violence, but spoke out against it. He was not arrested until he gave a kind of a boilerplate anti-war speech in Ohio in 1917, almost before the war ended, just before, and actually didn't go to trial until after the war was over in 1918. And Eugene Victor Debs, after making a very impassioned plea, which I usually go over in my class, but I won't subject you to my reading really what's poetry on his part. He's given a 10-year sentence, again, not for violence or for doing anything, but speaking out against the war. And he went to Atlanta Penitentiary to serve his time out. He was an old man at the time. He was in his late 60s. And he ran again for president in 1920 as convict number 46732. That's not the actual number, but who's going to know the difference? But Debs ran again, and he had such a following, and so many people felt that he had been right about the war, that we should have never got involved. He received another 1 million votes, despite running from behind prison and not being able to get out and campaign at all. And he, of course, have had the support of a lot of labor people, although not all of them by any means at all. But this would usher in a period of 12 years of Republican rule, which was not very conducive to the labor movement in that particular decade of the 1920s. And so the 20s are also important for another reason. And in some ways, I leave just for a couple of minutes our main topic, which is the American labor movement. But we must remember that there are larger issues sometimes in the world that affect everything and anything about them. And the 1920s were a turning point because America had now turned the corner. It was no longer a Protestant nation. The largest religious group in America in the 1920s became the Catholic Church. America was no longer simply a rural nation. We had now become a nation of city dwellers, urbanites, if you will. We saw the rise of different ethnic groups, African Americans during World War I, coming up to the industrial cities of the North in order to get jobs while the other boys were away fighting the war. We saw women for the first time getting involved, doing a man's work, because some of the men weren't there any longer to do it. We saw the rise of the Jewish intellectuals, something America was not used to at all either. And so there was a backlash against the fact that we went into World War I to make the world safe for democracy, to end all wars, and it seemed like things had only gotten worse. And the American public became very disheartened as they looked around and saw a globe that was no more peaceful than it was before. And in many ways, America tried to pick up the pieces for Britain and France and run their colonial empire for them. That wasn't what America was all about. We weren't fighting for our freedom as much as we were trying to stand up the old colonial regimes, which had caused so many problems in the world. America did not stand for that, but in this particular case, we got sucked into it whether we liked it or not. Now that backlash of all these monumental changes, and of course I don't have time to go into, there's 25 more, so don't be calling up the Labor Institute saying I left something out. I know I did a lot of things because we just can't cover it all. But the backlash took a very peculiar and well-known tact, and that was the reappearance, or as I like to say to scare my students, the recrudescence of the Ku Klux Klan, a group we really hadn't seen much about going back to the days of Reconstruction after the American Civil War. And in this particular instance, while the Klan, of course, would always have its base in the South, it began to move north and east in the Midwest states, all the way to Rhode Island, where they infiltrated the National Guard and virtually took it over in our plantations here in Rhode Island. They had tremendous political influence in many, many states. It's guesstimated that they had about 4 million members, which was more members than the American Federation of Labor had in 1924 and 25 when the Klan reached its height. And we have instances here in Rhode Island where the Klan held a huge rally in Gloucester that's estimated 10,000 hooded figures from Rhode Island showed up not to hear an ordinary crackpot give them a talk, not at all. It was a United States Senator from Alabama, not a state senator, but a United States Senator who served in Washington, Senator Heflin, who gave a talk to that throng in Gloucester. Let me tell you, there weren't 10,000 people living in Gloucester then. There aren't 10,000 people living there today. But the fact that the Klan could call out that many people. And of course, what people don't realize is that in the North and in New England, the Klan's prey was a whole different group of people than the African Americans they were chasing down south. Up north, it was looking after Catholics and Jews. And I know in my own union, the Amalgamated Transit Union, there was a strong contingent of Yankees who had been there for a long time, but a lot of Irish and Italian Catholics by the 1920s were also working there. Now, the Irish and the Italians didn't always get along the first couple of decades, and it's interesting, sometimes having a common enemy, like the Klan, who didn't like the Catholic religion, actually brought the Italians and the Irish together. And if you like food as I do, I always say it was the tomato and the potato getting together, kind of a little buzzword that I like to use in my class because it's cute. You need a little humor with some of this stuff because it's so tough to swallow. But the Klan was eventually sent back to the crevices of history where they belonged, and time marched on. And the 1920s were a fairly good economic time, but there were still lots of strikes. Working people had it better, but not as good as they would later on. So the 1920s are a real important time in American history, and I'll just leave you with a quote from that, and that was from, I can't find it, but a great labor historian named Foster Ray Dulles, who said it was a time of great impact of unconstitutional defense of the Constitution. I like that, a kind of a nice play on words. So the 1920s will set the stage, and almost unbeknownst to anyone else, for what was coming up, because in the last year of that decade, that fateful decade, in 1929, came a trigger which would bring into effect for another decade the Great Depression. We're living through a great recession, and that's not a lot of fun for an awful lot of people. But living through the Great Depression is something that would leave a mark on the lives of all the people, young and old, regardless of where you came from, forever. They never got over that, and I'll discuss that some more the next time we get together. But the 1920s are so important, and I hope you get something out of that. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for this edition of Labor Vision. We appreciate your input and encourage your comments. Labor Vision can be seen 3 times each week: Tuesdays at 7 p.m., Thursdays at 8 p.m., and Saturdays at 5 p.m.